Jai Shri Krishna. Welcome back, everybody. I had someone recently say to me, all religions are not the same, but the essence of all religions is the same. So today I'm going to respond to that gibberish. And that is gibberish. It is a statement that someone didn't think about. We do this a lot when it comes to religion, and it drives me crazy. So will you please join me for what is going to be a very controversial episode? But my goal is actually to be enlightening and educational and get you to wake up so you can be one of the minorities that truly see God, not spout gibberish and think you're seeing God. Or you see the world or you become enlightened or something. Something. I swear, if we stopped spouting gibberish, we'd have a worldwide religious revolution. But instead, we spout gibberish and then wonder why nothing happens. So, this is not a pre-recorded show. Some of my live shows, confession time, actually are pre-recorded and then I put them up later. I'm doing this live, but I don't have the chat window open because this is somewhat scripted today. I went through and wrote a somewhat of a script. I work off of it, as anyone can tell who listens to me. So I didn't want my comments interrupted. So I'm sorry if you're watching this and you want to talk. Just put some comments down below. I will see them. So I had this statement that I opened the show with. The essence of all religions is the same. Stated in the chat for the show I did 2 weeks ago, the interview with Sri Dharma Acharya of DharmaNation, DharmaNation and the International Society. My goodness. International Sanatana Dharma Society. There we go. Tongue tied. And I hope you watched that. It was an excellent interview. I suggested it to him sometime earlier and we ended up talking and then we did the interview and I was so happy to get to do that with him. Anyone who watches this channel knows that I've been a follower of his for some years and I quote him often, and quite often I quote things and I don't say that they're actually from him. He's influenced my views a lot, and I actually really just like the guy personally. I look forward to talking with him more in the upcoming year and connecting with him more. So I hope you went and watch that. It's an hour and a half, but it's really enjoyable. We discuss his book Radical Universalism and the idea of religious universalism and all religions are the same. So, anyways, we were running the show, and I was running the pre-recorded show, and I put in the comment window, "Hey, I'm here. Feel free to chat." Big long conversation developed. I wasn't involved with it. I just wanted people to talk. Have a good time, and so I put the statement in, "Hey, feel free to chat," and then someone responded immediately, "The essence of all religions are the same." I then put up a comment like, really? Jim Jones is the same as the Catholic Church? And they just let it go. And I didn't really pay much attention to it until afterwards when I read all the comments. But I wanted to now focus on that one comment. The essence of all religions is the same, and respond to it. And I'm just going to say, I'm not necessarily responding to this commenter, and I'm not saying like they're stupid and they're dumb. And I'm not saying that they're a stupid person or any way, shape, or form. What I'm really doing is anyone who takes a comment like this, I'm talking to you because the comment, yeah, you need to give it a little work. You need to think about what you're saying. I don't understand how you can have religious revelations with comments like this in your vocabulary. That's really what I'm saying. And I don't really see how you can find a firm foundation or a firm ground in God when you have comments like this that actually take you up into space and around here and there like a roller coaster. So, my goal today is not to criticize one person, but to criticize this comment and comments like this and get us to think logically. Yes, logic. I talk about this all the time. Logic. Logic, logic, logic. Logic is really important in religion. Sanatana Dharma actually encourages logic. It encourages asking questions. It encourages you looking, investigating, studying, discovering, and finding conclusions, looking at scripture, looking at teachers, looking at your own common experience, and finding an answer. Christianity doesn't necessarily do that. Christianity tells you, here's what you're going to believe. Okay, end of conversation. Mormonism tells you, here's what you're going to believe. Okay, don't ask questions. Islam, some of these other religions are very much, this is it. This is a religion of set beliefs. Sanatana Dharma is not. It is a religion of inquiry. It is a religion of having you get a group of tools that you can use to then discover the world and to expand upon what previous teachers have said. It is not, this is the answer, end all be all. And that's the way it will be for centuries. We're not like that. We grow, we change, we adapt, we discover, we see God's world forever changing, so we change with it. I'm not looking at the world from the point of view of a man in ancient Greece. No, that wouldn't make sense. So we change, we adapt, and we learn. So why on earth do we abandon logic for a religion that is so logical? I don't get it. It's not a good look. Let me take a drink, and then I'm going to talk about logic and why I think it's so important to not abandon logic when discussing religion. And then we're going to get into the question of the essence of all religions being the same, which is an illogical statement. So this is the Mr. Spock hour. Vulcans unite. So I could go on about logic quite a while, but I've got a small group of views here, and this will reflect some things that I've said in other shows. So there's three reasons why I harp on logic here on my show over and over. Why I just really say that this is a big deal. So the first one is, look at anything in the world. It's probably going to be logical. It's probably going to follow rules and laws of the world. Science, math, astronomy, even astrology. Let's see, medical science, art even has rules. Music has rules. You can break the rules, but it has rules. I guess they're not sort of rules, they're laws of, this string can only vibrate at this tension, whatever. Or vibrate in this way and make this note, and here's a scale. So there's rules that we then use to develop off. But everything is somewhat logical because of these rules. Whatever we look at, we can see, oh yes, here is a lawyer who is fighting a case based on centuries of legal work using that rule, which is listed in the laws of the government, and we can logically see. We can go to a hairdresser who logically cuts your hair starting at a certain point. They don't cut a piece here, they cut this piece off, and then they go over here and cut that piece off, and then they cut this one off, and then they go to the movies, and then they come back. No, it's logical. You start in a certain way. When someone writes a book or someone reads a book, I don't have a book here. Well, I guess I do. I don't read one sentence on one page. Lomasha replied, on hearing the caves and the mountains resounding with many different kinds of noise, and on not seeing Bhimasena, when he entered the hermitage, he who hears about the earth, we don't read like that. We read logically. Logically. Everything we do is logically. I doubt there's anything you could really name that just defies complete logic. Everything in the world is logical in some way, shape, or form. If it wasn't, I don't know if we could function. When I drive a car, it's logical. No turn on right. Why don't I? Or turn on right. Why don't I turn on left? Because I can get into an accident. There's a reason that law exists. Everything is logical. But yet, when we discuss religion, We throw logic out the window and it becomes all about feelings. It's just about Sanatana Dharma. It's other religions too. It becomes about feelings. I feel this. God exists because I feel God exists. I'm having my mind is exploding with a revelation right now. I feel that it's a revelation. Can't logically prove it, show it, demonstrate it, or have no scriptures that can validate it, but I feel it. Well, can you validate your feeling? No, I can't validate that either. But it's logical, it's rational, because I say it is, because I feel it. Why do we do this? Given religion is not irrational. Now, I've just said people deal with religion in irrational ways. It's all about feeling. But that's because we've done that. If you look at Sanatana Dharma, at least, I can speak for Sanatana Dharma, it is a very rational, logical religion. Please read the Srimad Bhagavatam. It is a point-by-point system developing out an idea over 12 books. Read some Upanishads, read Adi Shankara. They point by point tell you things. There are Upanishads, I have read them, that say, you are enlightened, here's the first stage, here's the second stage, here's the third stage. It is a very logical progression that you follow, that you go through. Maybe you might skip, but it's mentioned, it's very logical. Here is a belief about how Shiva and Shakti work, Sriman Narayana works. It's very, very logical. When Krishna speaks to Arjuna in the Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna asks a question, Krishna answers. And it's a very logical thing that happens. I just actually finished rereading Bhagavad Gita as it is. I've read it now twice. Just finished it like a month ago. Whole thing, purports everything. Very logical in the story it lays out. There's really no reason for us to feel anything. We can feel love for God, but even bhakti, if you research the definitive ideas of bhakti as written about by like Ramanuja, it's very logical, very rational. It makes sense. I believe in God because it makes sense. You see, there are some things I have to take on faith. There's some things I can't prove, but I'm also willing to say, hey, you know what? I can't prove that point. But if I could, rationally, logically, the next point is why. I can't prove A, but let's say I can. Therefore, B rationally follows. C rationally follows. But we don't. We go, well, I can't prove A, but Z naturally follows. How did you get to Z? We throw it out the window. But this makes no sense to me why we do this when the religion itself is logical. Not just that, but also, in terms of the religion being logical, I said the whole world is logical. Everything is logical. Because guess what? God created a super logical world. This is a world which follows laws. Laws of the natural world. Okay? These are laws we're discovering and working out, but there's laws in the natural world. If there wasn't, I'd be floating in space right now. But I'm not floating in space and somebody else is stuck on with gravity. It doesn't work like that. There is a law. Okay? And unless Krishna comes back, the laws apply to everything at all times. Now, if you believe the Krishna story that Krishna was here, he defied the laws of the universe like picking up a mountain. And we can talk about that in a separate show. But let's say he's not here, ignoring that. And let's say we don't believe in the Ramayana or anything else. We don't take any of those things as real. They're just stories. So we just have the world. Everything here is logical and rational. It all makes sense. We may not always like it, but it does. We may not always quite understand it, but we can see some rationality here. This is what Christians often say is the proof of God, because the world is so rational. Absolutely. Pinpoint whatever you name is rational and logical. And there's nothing out there that isn't irrational. Even an artist creating a painting might be irrational. Like some Jackson Pollock painting. Yes, Jackson might have thrown stuff on the ground when he was drunk, but if you actually study Jackson Pollock, it wasn't irrational. He didn't just throw stuff there and no, he had to create the paint. He had to get the paint on a certain texture so it would flow. Then he did this, and then he would put a little here and a little there, and it's actually rather well organized. No artist works irrationally, no matter how much they think they're in tune, because if I'm a painter, I have a canvas. Canvases all kind of look the same. They're wrapped material. I have paints. Certain paints react in a certain way. I want the paints that are going to react the right way. So even if my creation is in a wild madness of drug taking, the equipment that I have, the tools, were all logically prepared by me to have everything I need. If I want to paint, I'm going to get the correct paintbrush, logically speaking. I don't grab a pair of scissors. And if I do, I know I have to dip them in the scissors, and I could break my canvas, but I don't want to rip my canvas. So, see, even the illogical things are logical. So it makes no sense to me why we make religion into something illogical. God created a logical world. Sanatana Dharma is logical. There's nothing wrong with this. Yet we constantly throw logic out the window, even though it's built into our scriptures and it's built into the religion. It's the Gita. But we throw it out the window. And we say, oh no, I feel this and I feel this and I feel this. What the heck? What the heck? Why do we do that, people? It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense why religion is the one thing in the world that is illogical, and everything else is logical, even though Sanatana Dharma at its core is logical. Which means if you see it as illogical, you're misinterpreting it. Which might be why Krishna is not showing up at your doorstep, because he's looking at you going, really? That's not what I taught you. That's not what the Gita says. Why did you twist this around? Remember, 2 plus 2 equals 4. What happens if I said to you that 2 plus 2 equals purple penguin? You would laugh at me. You go, no, you're being silly. What if I said 2 plus 2 equals 5.5? So an actual number. You would still laugh at me. But if I said some religious thing that was like that, if I do this, I can feel the tree in my front yard and God comes down to me. Oh, no, that's right. He actually can feel the tree in his front yard that God comes down to and does, even though there's actually no trees in my front yard. You won't laugh at me. You'll take me seriously. Pfft, come on. So I said there was 3 reasons. I've actually hit 2 of them. Last one is, when we act like this, not just do we create a religion that is gibberish, that isn't getting us very far, that if we start tearing it apart really is silly, and we're also holding, well, we're not holding up the scriptures, we're actually not really interpreting them well, and so we're doing an injustice to our own scriptures. The third reason why I say we shouldn't abandon logic is it makes us look like a fool. I was listening to a show the other day, an atheist program, and this guy was coming on, and he goes, well, I can, I'm like most logical, rational person out there. I'm a scientist, and God exists. And the guy on the show goes, well, how do you know God exists? And he goes, well, I feel that God exists. And he goes, yeah, I'm very rational, I'm very logical. If God exists, I feel it. Well, there's nothing rational and logical about that. There's nothing, we can't even tell you what feelings are. Feelings may not even be logical and rational. So you're just trolling, really, when you say a statement like that. And you're sounding like a fool. You should have seen the comments. It's like, this guy, if he was logical and rational, he'd see the irrationality of his statement. So the question is one, and the guy goes, well, the Bible's true. And the host said, well, how do you know that? And the guy goes, well, I said it was. I feel that it is. I feel that it is. You look like a fool when we say this. I don't want you to be a fool. I want you to attract people to Sanatana Dharma. I want you to say, hey, my religion is awesome, and it's the most logical religion and maybe the most scientific religion that the earth has ever seen. And it's also the origin of so many religions. By the way, we believe in a purple people eater and a spaghetti monster. People would laugh at you. But yet we come out with statements like that. Oh, by the way, my religion is completely logical and is very rational, but I don't believe any of that for an irrational feeling I have about mystical things which aren't in scriptures that I made up. So, do you want to join my religion? If you wonder why people are saying no, listen to yourself. If this is kind of like the message of this channel half the time, is just listen to yourself. And I understand I might be wrong sometimes too. I've actually had people say, well, you should have feelings. And bhakti. And I'm going, yes, but bhakti is logical. If you read about bhakti and you read about the history of it and you read about people who teach it, it's not irrational. And they go, well, you should feel more. I feel plenty. I feel quite a lot, actually. But I don't shut off the other part of me. And that's what people do. So I have a belief that we don't want to be rational when it comes to religion because we don't like the world. Let me explain. The world is logical. It's often confusing. It's bureaucratic. It's oppressive. It's not fun. It's not interesting. You have to go to work. You have to make money. Um, you have to fill up your time. It's depressing. And I think a lot of us turn to religion as an escape. Thing is we don't just take the religion as it is. We try to twist it, and we actually start misinterpreting it, which I've already hinted on, and we make it illogical. We put our things into it and dump on it and twist it and turn it and soup it up and stir it up and whatever. We make it illogical because if the world sucks, the last thing I want to do is go to something else that sucks. I want to go to something that's going to make me escape. I want to go to something that's going to make me feel good. I want to go to something that's going to take me out of my head, my body, my woes, my depression. The last thing I want to do is remember any of that. I want something glorious. And I want feelings I don't have to worry about. I don't want to think about math. I'm not good at math. I'm not good at logic. I failed logic in college. I don't want to do philosophy. That's so boring. I want something that just makes me feel love and light and bright. All meaningless words, quite honestly. If you think God is bright and you say you have God, then show me bright. Go ahead, show me bright now. So I literally think we create an escape. But the problem is we take something that is actually really good and we don't really know much about it, and we rip it apart and we turn it into something that's now just a game. It's just a way to escape. Could read a book. That would be just much the same as delving into religion. Just grab any book. If it's a big one, it'll take you more time. It's the same thing. It's just a game. It's like when you pray to God because you're taking you want to test in college. You're going to take a test, or you want to raise at work, and you never pray, you never care about God, but you're like, God, give me the raise, make me pass the test. Really? You haven't prayed to God in years, but you want something. It's just a game. So that's what we do. I think we try to escape, and those saints who we really revere are the ones who call us out on this, but also they realize this is what happened. This is what's happening, and they're not escaping because they suddenly see the revelation of what the world is, and they got it, and they got the religion, and they got it, and they realize, no, actually this logical religion, I don't need to create it into something else. I don't need to reinvent the wheel because the wheel is perfect. I just need to use it. And then suddenly the world changes, and they have what we might call enlightenment, and they see the world for what it is, that it's not as horrible as we think. I mean, it is pretty bad. And they break the game. They break the cycle. Ramana Maharshi wasn't in the game. Neem Karoli Baba wasn't in the game. But they didn't abandon scriptures. They didn't abandon religion. They didn't just, Neem Karoli Baba didn't go, just bright light, just bright sun, bright, whatever. They didn't do that. They broke it. But we're stuck. That's it. If more people did that, they would break the game, and the world would change, radically change. But we don't really want to break the game because the game is very comforting, and we spend a lot of time creating the game. We spend a lot of time creating the game, but we don't need to. We spend a lot of time going around just saying, just say love, just love, but we really don't know what that means. We really don't know. But it gives us some hope to think we do. It also gives an excuse to act bad. So other times, oh, well, I was bad that day, but I loved the other day. If you see what I'm talking about, you will break the game and the world will change for you. You will have your wake up moment. Trust me on that. Because Krishna and this religion I endorse is more than a feeling. Krishna is not a feeling. Vishnu is not a feeling. Shiva is not a feeling and a good dancer. It's more than that. And there is truth out there which you can actually find. And it's amazing. And you will find it. But not as long as it's a game where you make up your own thing and you do whatever you want and whatever. Creating your own religion isn't following God, who's given you the religion already. And the other thing with this is the problem is we want the game because the game is happy and the world is not happy. But the fact is true religion isn't happy. True religion just is. I think. You know, Buddha didn't smile every day and dance and give out candy. He didn't, dream of unicorns at night. Krishna might have danced with naked gopis, naked women, but he was actually a boy who didn't really care. He was just having fun. And then other times, he wasn't having fun and he was fighting for his life, and it was very serious. Jesus had a temper, you know? Yet we turn to religion and we expect it's supposed to be fun and happy. And, oh, I smile every day, therefore I'm enlightened. I once saw someone say that on YouTube. He goes, yeah, you can tell I'm enlightened because I smile all the time. Really? Jesus didn't smile. Buddha didn't smile. Krishna didn't smile. Name a great person who smiled all the time. Jim Jones had a smile. He smiled a lot. Charlie Manson had a smile all the time. Religion isn't about being happy. That's your escapism. You're trying to make it into something, but there's nothing there. Show me where in the Gita it says Krishna said to Arjuna, "You should smile all the time. Please escape from reality by following what I'm telling you." So this is why I encourage logic, because logic is in the religion, logic is in the world, and religion is in the world, religion is part of the world. We can't separate religion from outside the world, so thus we must have it as logical, just like the world is logical. And to treat it as logically, we must not treat it as a game. We must treat it as it is. We must come to it, not take a little bit of it and a little bit here and do whatever. So that brings us to the point of today's talk, which is this sentence of the essence of all religions is the same. So I did a little poking on the internet and discovered that Gandhi is credited with saying this. He said the essence of Hinduism is the same essence of all true religions, and he said all religions are also all one. Oh, Gandhi. Not a theologian. Not a theologian. And not always correct. But because he's Gandhi, we just assume he is. So the statement is, from him, the essence of Hinduism is the same essence of all true religions. Okay, Gandhi, what's a true religion? Is Islam a true religion? Is Zoroastrian a true religion? Is Mormonism a true religion? And what gives you the right to say who is true and who is not? Because everyone I know who's religious or spiritual but not religious, they all say they're following the truth. I've never met a religious person, spiritual person, a believer in God, or anyone who's ever said, you know what I believe? It's not actually true. No one's ever said that. I know a guy, I used to have a roommate, he was my roommate for a while. He believed that the world was all mathematical equations, something like out of the Matrix. And I went, really? He goes, yeah, it's totally true. He couldn't really explain it to me, but he goes, yeah, it's all mathematical equations everywhere. It's all math. Don't know how that math got there. Big Bang manifested, quadratic equations. But he said to me, it's totally true. You find someone who doesn't believe. So this statement of all true religions already debunks Gandhi's statement, because he can't actually make such a statement without then saying who is true and who is not. But how do you know that statement, that religion is true? Probably the statement is, any religion that agrees with me is a true religion. Any religion that has a different essence, therefore, is not a true religion. Well, that's bullshit. You can't make that statement. How do you do that? And all religions are one? You have to, no. That means you've studied all 10,000 religions in the history of time, even ones that barely exist. You've studied them and you know this, and they're all one, which means they're all true. Because if they're all one, they're all true. If all religions are one, then they're all true, logically, right? But according to him, only some are true. All true religions, which means there's some non-true ones. And if there's some non-true ones, then all religions are not one. See, Gandhi's two statements contradict themselves. But Gandhi also misinterpreted the Bible, so I don't really give him that much credit. He just, Christian missionaries misinterpreted the Bible. We hate them, but we don't hate Gandhi. Sorry, did I say Bible? I mean Bhagavad Gita. Gandhi misinterpreted the Bhagavad Gita when he wrote his version. So did Christian missionaries. Why did Christian missionaries do it? Because they wanted to show the Bible was better. Why did Gandhi do it? To show his non-aggressive approach to life was better. But we like him, but we don't like them. Logically, it doesn't work. So Gandhi, whatever. But it's funny because this is a statement, all of the essence of all religions is true. This guy said to me on this chat site, I found it credited to Gandhi, and here we have probably a belief held by many of you. Some of you probably hate me by all that I'm saying so far. That's fine. But you literally have a belief that is traced to Gandhi a century ago. And you probably will say, oh, it's an authoritative scriptural belief. I traced it to Gandhi a century ago, who is not an authoritative scriptural source, not even a religious guru, scholar, whatever, maybe. Not really, not your traditional religious guru, anyways. A cultural guru, I would say. So you have a 100-year-old idea. Now, if you can pick up the Bhagavad Gita, or actually the book I've been holding is the Mahabharata, matter of fact, please find that belief in here that all religions are true and all religions are one and all the essence of all religions is true. Please find that in any scripture so we can see that it's actually authoritative and scriptural. Otherwise, you have a 100-year-old idea that you think is ancient from a guy who is known for saying things that align with his belief system, no different than what CNN does or Fox News does. And we just finished the presidential election. So let's look at the statement a little bit. All religions are not the same, but the essence is. So this is essentially having your cake and eating it too. First of all, how do you define essence? What is the essence? The answer is not Christians believe in Jesus, because if that is the answer to the question, what is the essence of Christianity? But we can't take that essence, a belief in Jesus, and then look at every other religion. Well, do you believe in Jesus? Do you believe in Jesus? Do you believe in Jesus? Because we'll only get a few religions that do, and then even if they do, maybe like Hinduism, they have other things they believe beyond that. So what is the essence? It has to be something more generic than something more specific. What is the essence of Islam? Well, belief in the Quran. Okay, that's your essence. All right, now so let's look at the essence of other religions. Who else believes in the Quran? Nobody. Therefore, I mean, you're done. The argument's done. You can't make an argument. How do you know what the essence is? You know, if I encounter a religion that I've never seen before, how do I know what to look for? How do I know, well, what is the essence of this religion? I've never seen it before. I don't know what it is. It's called the Bonkers Dance Religion. It comes out of Canada. I don't know what it is. I got a brochure. How do I know what the essence is? What do I know what to look for? In order to know what the essence is, we have to have a definition of essence. Let me put it a different way. What is the essence of the teachings of Jim Jones? How about someone you may not know, Phineas Quimby? You probably don't know. Maybe you could guess Jim Jones, but I doubt you know who Phineas Quimby is, who's been dead for over a century. So there's no way you could begin to tell me what the essence of Quimby's religion is and then tell me if it's matching Jim Jones, because you don't know. But even if you go into the writings of Phineas Quimby, which is all we have left of him, because he didn't really start he had a religion, but it didn't really, it kind of sort of continued past him, but in a different way. He's the father of the New Thought movement. Mary Baker Eddy of the Christian Church was one of his students. We still need to know now what the essence is, the definition of essence. If we read something, we need to know. So this statement, the essence of all religions, doesn't give us a definition we can work with to validate the statement, much like Gandhi's statement, all true religions. Well, what is a true religion? I don't know. So this is a statement that people make, but they don't put a definition in, so they're gibberish. Hey, essence of all religions is true. Yay! Yeah, you cool, I cool, we know this, right? Well, what is essence? We can define what a religion is, more than likely, but what is the essence of a religion? How do we know what an essence is? How do we know what to look for? You see, we don't. Thus, the statement is crap right out the door because it's clouded in a mystery. And so anyone who goes, yeah, that's a true statement, well, how do you know it's true if you don't know what the words mean? Okay, think about this. If you don't know what the essence of a religion is, how do you know the essence of all religions is true, particularly of religions you've never heard of? And how will you find the essence? Oh my God, you'll be on Wikipedia for the rest of your life, and I guarantee you'd never get the answer to that question if you don't know what an essence is. You're never going to be able to find an essence. The question out the door is spouting an irrational statement that, now if the guy said, oh, well, the essence is this, then we could then argue, well, no, yes, whatever. This is a philosophical dead end. Now, let's say we get the definition of essence. Let's say we have a definition. The definition is XYZ. That's the definition. Okay, there's a couple problems with this. We run into two problems with the XYZ definition. No, actually, let's use a different word that I'm not with. Let's say the essence of all relations is Duran Duran. It's the rock band, obviously, but I'm not going to be using that word in a conversation. XYZ I'm liable to use. So we'll say Duran Duran is the essence of all religions. Any religion that has Duran Duran, well, they're the same as any other religion, and all religions have Duran Duran. Okay, so that's our definition. The definition of essence is Duran Duran. Just, whatever. Now, we've got it. We know what the definition is. So we have two problems. Go back to the original statement. The essence of all religions is the same, and we now know that the essence is Duran Duran. Well, what does all mean? What is all? All religions. Do you have, is that like, they say there's 10,000 religions in history, maybe 4,000 to 10,000. Have you studied all of them? Have you studied all of them? So you know this, all 10,000. Or did you do like a statistician and take a sample size? So no, I didn't study 10,000 religions, but I studied 20. And based on statistical demographic work, blah, 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 20 religions represents actually 1,000. So therefore, if I have a sample size, and I'm using 100 religions in my study, I've got my bases covered. Is that how you do it? You only study 6 religions, therefore you can speak about 10,000? Makes no sense. There's no scientific person out there that would say that you did a logical study. If I want to study something, this is what you learn in sociology, which was my college degree, you have to have a sufficient sample size. Well, if you have 10,000 of something, what's your sample size? Well, I studied Judaism and Christianity. So you studied 2 religions, and thus that represents 10,000. So you can't do this study. You don't even know what a sample size is, and can you even have a sample size? Can you even sample 10,000 religions, which are all completely diverse, and say, well, if I only sample 100, that'll be good enough? And even then, if you sample 100 religions, how do you do that? Do you read every single book in Hinduism or every single book in Buddhism? That's going to take you a lifetime plus. How do you do this? How do you even begin to study each religion? You can't actually carry out the study to prove your point. Do you see what I'm hinting? You can't test the theory that you're proposing. I doubt you could even name 100 religions. You could probably most people probably do 20 right off the bat. And then they go, well, Baptist is not actually a religion, that's a sect. So then we get all these other arguments. So you can't, and they may not even be able to define what a religion is. Some people say Sanatana Dharma is not a religion. So then it's like, well, we can't actually do the study to show what all religions are to validate our point. So this is a point where I can't support my premise with any proof or evidence or any type of study, but also you can't argue me on it. So if I say the essence of all religions is the same, I can't verify that, but you can't either. You can't debunk it. It is the worst type of argument to make. It is horrible logic. It is horrible arguing, and basically everyone should look at you as correct because you've stated something that feels good but can't be proven or disproven, can't even be argued without hitting a brick wall instantly. And yet you want people to think you're the smart one because you came up with this pontification which can't be proven or disproven and hits a brick wall. And they want, and all religions are great. You should join my religion, even though philosophically I just gave you a statement that is dead. It's sort of like the God conversation. You can't prove God and you can't disprove God. So really most conversations around God have to go into the sense of faith or whatever because there's no way to prove it one way or the other. So it's a dead argument. But how do you prove that all religions are the same? How do you do this? How do you measure 10,000 religions? What do you look for? We have to figure it out. It's a garbage statement, and very likely this person talking, and the chat went on, and the guy goes, "Well, I grew up Catholic and then studying in India," so he's only discussing 2 religions. Actually, he mentioned Islam, so he had 3 religions in his conversation, and from 3 religions he was able to judge 10,000. Is he gonna? I doubt he has any integrity and would stand by that if I pushed him. There's no way he could without getting into feelings or calling me a Nazi or something. It's no wonder that folks don't like religion when we spout arguments like this. Well, I'm very logical and rational. I'm able to deduct what 10,000 religions believe based on my personal knowledge of three, of which none of which I've actually studied in depth. And I can't define the words I use. How is anyone going to want to join our group if this is cult talk? It's bullshit talk. And we are the ones who say we have enlightenment, but yet we can't make an argument. And if you start using feelings and you start getting illogical, like I said, religion is not illogical. The Srimad Bhagavatam, books or whatever, Sanatana Dharma is very logical. So if you start doing illogical to explain this stuff, then you're creating your own little bubble to try to create it, and you're moving away from the truth. That's my belief. Okay, I said there was two problems with this statement. So if all religions are not the same, but the essence of religions is, that implies there are two faces to the religion. One is external and one is internal. We could also say one is the belief system in the ancient teachings versus the external rituals. But can we divide religions that way? Can we chop it and go, here's the face, here's the heart? Can we take the Catholic Church, who is an incorporated entity, an LLC, a business, away from the Catholic teachings? Well, maybe we can say, well, that's an LLC and it's incorporated. But the fact is that what the church shows us in its temples and its pope and its whatever is based on the internals. And if we take away the internals, we're going to lose the reason for the externals. There will be no reason to do the externals if we don't have the internals. And the externals reflect the internals. We can't actually separate them. Excuse me 1 second. I am going to plug in my computer because I see my battery is dying. So, live show dilemma. Here we go. Much better. You might hate what I'm saying, but I'm sure you want to hear me talk to the end. So, let me just check to make sure everything's okay. Yes. We are still in action. Okay, so, if we cut out the saints of the Catholic Church while they were alive, not dead saints, but, St. Thomas Aquinas, do you know how many church teachings we will lose? So the saints are the external of the church. They're the things we see when we look at the Catholic Church. And I say Catholic Church because we all know about it, no matter where we live. We see the saints. But the saints' lives and their actions and their thoughts are based on the internal. Okay? The essence of. Can you separate St. Francis from what made him St. Francis? Could you take him out of the church and still have St. Francis? Probably not. Can you take St. John of the Cross away from the Catholic Church and still have St. John of the Cross? No, you can't. You can't separate the essence from the external. You really can't. Now, there are some externals that you might be able to get rid of, and no one's probably going to notice, whether we wave the incense with our right hand or our left hand sort of thing. But there is a point where you will be able to take away certain things before you will start corrupting the essence. So, for example, if you take away the idea of the cross and Jesus died on the cross, you will affect the essence of the teaching, which teaches that Jesus died on a cross. Well, we don't have a cross anymore. We got rid of it. And I'm saying we just removed it from the church like the Presbyterians and John Knox did in Scotland because they didn't want anything. These were the Puritans, the first Puritans. No, I'm talking about we just don't have the idea anymore. Well, that's the external is the cross. The internal is Jesus died. How did he die? We got rid of it. We killed it. Now, actually, the Quran actually says Jesus didn't die on the cross. So that's what we'll have. If we get rid of that, we'll kill the internal essence of the Bible, and now it's going to become the Quran. We're going to radically change it. And nobody says that the Quran and the Bible are the same, except for Muslims. But no Catholic says that. Pope doesn't get up there and wave the Bible in one hand and the Quran in the other. So we can't separate these things. No more than you can take me away from my love of music. I wouldn't be who I am if it wasn't for music. So So to say, well, all religions are different, but the essence is the same, sort of implies that we can start separating stuff. But we really can't. The external is based on the internal. The internal affects the external. The essence affects the external. And then in turn, the external affects the essence. You know? I started learning slap bass. So I play that old 1950s rockabilly style. Well, I didn't used to play that. I played in a heavy metal band for a while in New York. Very different style. Listened to a lot of metal at the time. Well, I left the band and I kind of stopped listening to metal. It wasn't really my thing. I like metal, but not as much as the community. Um, and then I get into slap bass, which is something I've loved my entire life since I was a boy, running around wanting to be Elvis. And the more I got into slap bass, the more I started reading about slap bass and old musicians and reconnecting with things from my past, listening to more Elvis. And, I'm in a Johnny Cash tribute band. And I'm starting to research stuff and learn stuff. And then I'm learning more music and different types of music theory and stuff. So now suddenly, here I am, sometime later, the way I listen to music has now radically changed because I now hear things different because I've educated myself more because of the external of learning slap bass. I now have a different way of listening. Because of that, the way I hear music I think is different than it was 5 years ago. So my essence has now changed. Not to mention, I want to create a band where I will be a weekend warrior going out a couple times a month to perform for money. And that is a dream that I didn't have. It is something I really want to do this year. So you see, my essence is changed by the external. If you got rid of the external, my essence is changed. It is a two-way street that goes like this. There's not one or the other. This isn't the soul and the body. Those you could separate. You can in Sanatana Dharma, you have your soul and you have your body, your jiva and your body, and we can get rid of those. The body is not dependent, but the essence, in this sense, isn't this. It isn't like that. We can't strip away this. So for someone to say, well, all religions are not the same, but the essence is, you're discrediting the externals. Well, the externals don't matter. They build a church, they build a temple. Who cares? That one lives in a tent. Who cares? You're saying those things don't matter. But if you're saying those externals don't matter, then you don't understand how things function. You know? If the externals don't matter, why don't the Amish just start driving cars and use technology? If the externals don't matter, it won't matter what they do, right? But they do matter. They do matter. And they reflect the internal. So, now let's go a little bit more on this. So the essence is the same in all religions. And we're going to forget about the externals for a moment. We're just going to look at this essence thing. The essence is Duran Duran. Every religion believes Duran Duran. But I'm going to ask you, do Christian scientists see Jesus in the same way as Mormons do? Do Christian scientists see Jesus in the same way as Mormons and Muslims do, and followers of the Urantia book do? No is the answer. They do not. All these four groups see Jesus very, very differently. Does Sanatana Dharma see that Jesus died on the cross for all of us, so thus we must become... No, we don't. We may see him as a saint or a god, but we don't believe he died on the cross, and he saved us from eternal sin at the Garden of Eden. We don't have those beliefs. So this goes back to, what is this essence then? What is the essence? And if we can remove the essence from the external, this goes back to the first point of what is this essence then? How do we define it? It's Duran Duran, but let's say we didn't get to that conclusion. How do we get to that conclusion? How do we know that it's Duran Duran at some point? And then to find the essence, we have to ignore all the externals. So I'm studying a religion, I have to ignore all the externals because the externals don't matter. I have to look in the internal. You ever see a rock band, since I mentioned Duran Duran, ever see a rock band that gets a brand new singer and maybe the entire band basically changes? So, Black Sabbath, for example, uh, in the late 80s and 90s, Ronnie James Dio had become the second singer, but they also went through a few other singers. There's a guy named Tony Martin who did a few albums with them. Eyewitness, I think, is one of the songs. There's some actually good stuff. So it's Tony Martin, Tony Iommi, who's the guitar player, and then a different drummer and a different bass player from the debut of Black Sabbath, from the Aussie days, which is when Black Sabbath became iconic. So really, we have the old guitar player and the third or fourth singer, fifth singer maybe. Okay? They sound nothing like Black Sabbath of Ozzy Osbourne's days. Would you say the essence of Black Sabbath is the same? Not really, because the externals changed. The singer changed. The person who wrote the songs, Geezer Butler, wasn't in the band anymore. It's a different band. So, so what is the essence of Black Sabbath then? What is the essence of Black Sabbath? Well, it depends on if it's Ozzy or if it depends on whatever. You see, but when we say the essence of all religions is the same, and we have 10,000 of those versus only four lead singers, it just boggles my mind. It just boggles my mind how we say statements like this and we don't actually think about it, and we don't realize what we're actually saying is absurd. It is really absurd. Um, so let's stick with Jesus one more minute. Let's say Jesus is the essence of Christianity, and a belief in Jesus is the essence. Okay, but the Bible, we don't care about that. We don't care about that, and we're actually going to say now that it's not really Jesus; it's just a savior. So that's the essence of the religion: is a savior. It believes in a savior, and thus we will make the deduction that any religion that believes in a savior, that's the essence. So we just have to. That's the essence of the religion. That's the Duran Duran part. So we have to look for every religion's savior. Okay? And that's how we do it. Every religion has a savior. Once we find it, we know the essence. Okay? The problem is we make this deduction and then we turn to Buddhism and go, well, Buddha was the savior, but he wasn't. Oh, Islam, Muhammad was the savior, but he wasn't. So then we okay, well that doesn't work. So then we have to say, well, it's not a savior, it's a guy. So the religion believes in a guy. And this guy's name is Jesus. It could be any. We're just going to say the essence of Christianity is the belief in a guy, G-U-Y. Okay, okay. So that's fine. That's fine. So Hinduism believes in Shiva. Is Shiva a guy? Would we say he's a guy? He's more like a god. And then there's Shiva Shakti, which is male, female. Is it really? Could we just call Shiva a guy, just a normal guy? No, we can't. So it doesn't work. So the other thing is if we say the essence of Christianity is belief in a guy, there's no Christianity there. There's no nothing there. We've gone so far, we've now nullified the essence of the religion. You see what I'm saying? We now have nothing. There's nothing here. I believe in Mick Jagger. Does that make it a religion? Because he's a guy. He's alive. I guess that's all it takes. You see, definitions matter. And logic matters. And logic matters to get to the definitions. And I'm kind of beating a dead horse, I understand. I'm kind of probably repeating myself. But I'm also doing that to clarify things and to see the big picture. It's not necessarily the most logical argument here, I understand. But I'm trying to cover all my bases. There is no way to make the argument all religions are not the same, but the essence is, and remain logical, rational, have any way to prove that, or anything. It is a statement that you wish to believe because it feels good. It is a statement that makes you friends versus saying, no, not all religions are true, doesn't make you friends. I'm okay with that if I don't get your subscriber because you disagree with me, but please argue your position, and you're going to argue it and probably have more friends than I do. But is that the truth of religion, getting friends, though? Is that why we're here? Is that why we're doing this, to get friends? When you make the statement, it feels like that's it. You're just looking for friends. You're looking. I don't know what you're looking for. Statements like this are made by people looking for something. That's how I feel. And they're so absurd that when an atheist says, "Look, religion is fake," I have to kind of go, "Yeah, you're right. You're absolutely 100% right, because my religion, with its defense and its statement of all religions are different but the essence is the same, which is easily debunked, yeah, you're right. It is absurd." So when we make these statements that make no sense, we're literally saying it's a man-made thing. We're literally making it on the spot, and we're giving a case to the atheists to debunk us from our own words just by arguing our own absurdity. While then we turn around going, well, yes, here's an absurd statement, but by the way, I have a very logical religion, but I just gave you an illogical statement to verify how logical my religion is. And I gave you a statement that's only a century old, but it's authoritative and scriptural means more than a century old. Yeah, really doesn't sound like I have anything going on. It's literally like I'm trying to give atheists as much ammo as I can. Oh. So I've hit a lot of topics today, and let me just see if there's anything here. I've touched on a bunch of stuff. Now, let's talk about externals one little bit. If the externals actually don't matter, they don't matter. It's all about the essence, okay? It's all about the essence of the religion. That's the same. Once you find that, once you find your Duran Duran, you're good to go. Don't worry about these other things. Don't worry about this shit. We'll just take it right off, okay? Don't worry about that. It's all about the essence. Look, we're gonna go one step further, okay? I'm gonna just take this off. I have a T-shirt on. I'm not gonna flash you, because this is from India. Okay, we're just gonna take it all off. There we go. It's just an external. Doesn't matter. Okay? The externals don't matter. It's what's here. It's what's inside. It's what's up here. That's what matters. Okay? So then why have different religions? Why practice different things? Why do some people have crystals and some do not? Why call yourself a Buddhist or a Mormon or a Zoroastrian? Why study anything? Why study the Mahabharata, which is an external book, an epic, currently covered with cat hair? Why waste your time with this? If the essence is the same, you just have to figure out, well, okay, what's the essence? The essence is, I don't know, I'm sure it's here on some page. Oh, it's chapter 5 of the Srimad Bhagavatam. That's the essence. So just read chapter 5, we're good to go. And we'll assume that the essence is the same for all religions, because that's what Gandhi said. All religions are one. So if you read chapter 5 of the Bhagavad Gita, you've got everything. You understand Mormons and Zoroastrians and Buddhists and the spaghetti monster. You got it all. Charles Manson even. That's all it takes. Why bother? What is it? Eat fish on Friday. Why wear white on Labor Day or whatever it is? Why go to synagogue on Saturday instead of Sunday? What does it matter? And actually, why do anything? Why does it matter if you do anything if the externals don't matter? You ever meet someone? Well, here in the States we have, I call them holiday Christians. There's other words for them. They're the Christians that only go to church on Easter and Christmas Day. You know, favorite day for churches because they get the biggest tithing, because it's like they're overflowed by people they've never seen before. Um, and these are Christians that just go twice a year for whatever reason. They think that's all it takes. If the externals don't matter, then actually those people are 100% right. Because why go to church every Sunday if going twice a year is all it takes? And It's all about here. It's all about what's here. I don't need to go to church. So those people are more Christian than those who go every week. Actually, they're more Christian than the preacher who works for the church. What a waste of time. He should get a different job. He doesn't need to do any of that stuff. I don't even need to read the Bible. Honestly, if it's all just what I believe, people have told me, well, just have bhakti. I literally had someone say to me, don't read the Hindu scriptures because all you need is bhakti. Okay, if that's all it takes, why are we bothering with any of this? Right? If the externals don't matter, this is clearly an external. Why bother? It's all the same. It's all one. I'll just read and mix and match anything I want. Shoot, let's see. Here we go. I know what I can do. I'll take something from this book, the Mahabharata, and since the externals don't matter, I don't know. I'll just take something randomly from here. Here's a sign. Here's a line. It says, "Shame on having a single son. It is better to have none. All beings are always prone to distress, and a single son is cause for misery." Okay, so that's going to be part of our new belief system, and then we're going to take something out of this book. Let's see. Let me find something. Let's see. Here it is. Here's the line. "You guys probably don't know this about me, but I used to own an ice cream shop." Okay, that's the line. The ice cream was incredible, but for some reason the place didn't make any money. There. That's my lines from a book called Team of Vipers, My 500 Extraordinary Days in the Trump White House. Okay, picked up $3.97. I love presidential history books. So my belief system can just be random. I can take a word about ice cream because it's this guy's, this perspective of he had this ice cream store versus this thing about single sons. Since the externals don't matter, and this biography of a former member of the Trump White House and this book here, right? Can I just mix and match them now since the externals don't matter and all religions are one and all belief systems are one? If this guy has a belief system about his ice cream store and it's a spiritual thing for him, isn't this just as legitimate? So this whole thing of all religions are not one, but the essence is the same and we just have to figure out the essence literally tells us not to waste our time with any of it. It literally just blows it all out of the water. Why bother with any of it? What's the point? We can just mix and match and do whatever we want with anything we want because all religions are one. Now you could say, well, this guy with his ice cream shop, this is not a true religion, but how do you define true religion? Who are you to say what a true religion is? See, and this is the problem, is that's where these statements go into just a mix and match thing. We often call it New Ageism. Do it your own religion. This is how people suddenly become gurus overnight of something because they just can do this, because we don't think about these statements. And we actually now degrade Hinduism. If all religions are one, this is how the idea goes. If all religions are one and the essence is all the same, then what makes Hinduism special? It's the same as Islam, right? That's the same religion, really. The same. What makes it special? Why should I care? It's not special anymore. It's just an external. I have anything in my head? Let's see if get rid of all of it. All of it. Doesn't matter. It's the same. Right? I could just spout Sanskrit and Arabic right now. So we've downgraded the religion that we love by saying this. So if you love Islam, but all they're the same, then you've downgraded it. You've literally made your religion just equal on par, and it's not that special. It's kind of insulting. Right? No religion is now unique, none have anything interesting to say, none have any particular message. All religions are the same. In a world where everything is different. So this statement eradicates basically religions. It just nullifies everything. And we end up now arguing about the essence of religions, but we don't know what the essence of the religions are. We can't define this Duran Duran. While the externals influence the internals. So, I mean, do you think if someone was working for the Jimmy Carter White House, they'd write the same book? No. The external of Donald Trump influences this person who worked in the White House. This was the former special assistant to the president who wrote this. So, yeah, this is what happens. And it just boggles my mind. Um, but that's what happens. We create this thing, and it's all now based on feelings and what we want, and yet the religion we have is not based on feelings. If Sanatana Dharma was based on feelings, Arjuna would have said to Krishna, that was a very good point you've made over the last 14, 16 chapters, but I'm going to go with my feelings and not fight. Thank you so much. Namaste. I will see you later. I'm going to go head that way. No, Krishna didn't do that. He didn't go with his feelings. He went with what was the logical argument that Krishna had given. Arjuna did. Yeah, Arjuna didn't do that. Sorry if I mixed up the names. But yet, no, 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 no. You got to feel. You got to have bhakti. You got to find God. And I've actually had people accuse me. Oh, you need to just look at nature and feel God when you go out to nature. Even though that's what I'm saying. Well, then what's the point of Sanatana Dharma if I just walk outside of the park across my street? You see, you're doing yeah, you're doing a disservice. Not just that, but the statement of all religions are one and all religions are the same, we're literally now promoting uniformity. Because we've destroyed all the externals that make them unique, and now it's uniformity. China, North Korea, both love you. They are countries that promote uniformity. And the irony is, since there's no externals, the internet, now the essence will be completely changed and up for reinterpretation, which is what these countries like to do. So now we're promoting uniformity, that we should all believe the same thing. That's what this statement is. The essence of all religions is the same. We should all believe the same thing. All religions are one. You should all believe the same thing. And if you're not believing it, well, you're not following a true religion. Isn't that sort of the condemnation we don't like Christians saying, well, follow my religion or don't, or Islam saying, well, follow my religion or don't, I'm the one true religion? Yet the statement is literally arguing that you have to follow this or not. That's how the statement pans out. So we've just destroyed all unique religions, all individuality, declared our religion as the one and only, and there's nothing in this religion other than gibberish. All that comes from the statement, the essence of all religions is true, or is the same. Yeah, I can't take that statement. Now you might find some holes in my logic. I understand that, and but I'm willing to stick by a good chunk of what I said today. Uh, as I said at the beginning, this wasn't a rant on one particular person and his foolish statement. This was a rant on all of us who make statements like this and think we're doing ourselves a service and think we're doing others a service. Hey, look at my religion, come to my religion, say silly things. Silly things will draw you to my religion. And then we wonder why no one's drawn to the religion. And we wonder why we never get anywhere spiritually, why our spiritual growth seems to just be like this. And we go, well, God's mysterious. God's very mysterious. This is why we never seem to grow. Well, maybe it's not God that is the problem here. Maybe it's us. It's the problem. I'm going to quote G.K. Chesterton to round this show up, and it's about Christianity. He said, a rough quote, it's not that Christianity has been, found to be false. It's that we haven't tried it in the first place. Something like that. That was actually, I just murdered the quote. But basically, it's not that it's false. It's just that we haven't done it yet, so we don't know that it's true, because we created other things and did other things that were easier, and that's what we're doing. And this drives me crazy. Drives me bonkers. Because I want your mind to expand, and I want you to see the world and to find your place in it, and to live your life fully, and to understand, yes, the world sucks and it's oppressive and it's horrible and you might die tomorrow and it doesn't make sense, and God is mysterious and God is crazy and God is an angry old man in the sky. I got all those things. I understand all that. I'm not arguing that the world is perfect. I'm not arguing that it doesn't make sense all the time, that sometimes God's plans are like really wacko. Really? God, you let people die from a war? Couldn't you avoid it? Couldn't you have planned that differently so the war wouldn't happen? I got all those things. Right now, right in this moment, you're living your life. You're watching YouTube or Rumble or BigShoot. You're hearing me someplace. And right now is what I'm thinking about. You living your life right now, and where are you going to go after the show is over? What are you going to do next? For me, it's maybe going to get something to eat or get some more to drink. And then I'm going to play some music today, actually. I'm trying to learn a song on keyboard. So I'm not looking at the big picture. I'm not looking at the big picture of the world. I'm just looking at your life right now, today. That's who I'm talking to, and I want you to, in this moment, live as full as you possibly can. If you're watching my video, you're not in a prison. You're probably not hanging from a noose. Maybe you're going to die someday. We all will die. Maybe you don't know when, where, how, or it might be unjustified, or might be whatever, or horrible. I got that. But right now, in this moment, you're living your life. So why not live this moment as fully as you possibly can? We won't worry about tomorrow so much. Right now, live your life fully. But you're not going to live your life fully if you put stuff into it that is literally just making your brain explode in not good ways, and you're not building a firm foundation to your house. I mean, if you build a house with a roof and no walls, what's going to happen? The roof is going to cave out, fall down. Well, you're never going to be able to lift the roof up. And I want you to lift the roof up. And we got to start with the foundation. We got to start with the sides. Very logical how you build a house, and then the roof. That's what I want. And that's right now. That's all I care about. Not the future, not the big picture, but living your life right now to the best of your ability. And that requires thinking about what you're saying and thinking about this thought, and not just going with your thoughts, and not just going with whatever feels good, because I'm guaranteeing that those feelings are passing very quickly. The way I felt when I started the show an hour and a half ago is different than the way I feel now. I was actually very thirsty at the beginning of the show, and I'm not now. Excuse me, I'm not now. I feel differently about the day. It's later in the day. Things change. So you can't base it on the emotions. But the logic is the same. The logic is I actually should drink because I'll get dehydrated. Logically, I need to be drinking more. The logic is there. The laws of nature will remain. The feelings will pass. Your feelings are fine. But what I'm saying is live your life fully right now. You can enjoy the emotions, but also don't get rid of the logic to feel the moment. And in 5 minutes from now, the feeling changes. Go for the profound, go for the big. That's what I want from you. So that's where I'm coming from. That's where I'm speaking from. And yeah, I have made my point. That's all I'm going to say. Thank you for joining me on this. And actually, this is not going to be the last video. There's some other comments that were made by some other people on this chat that I'm going to be responding to later. And going through and looking at. There was a very interesting conversation. As I said, this was on my Sri Dharma Acharya video, which you should watch. Please do. And yeah, so I think that's a good place to stop. I know what you're going to do. You're going to put some comments down below. Some of you may think I'm crazy. That's okay. But the comments are appreciated. Please subscribe, though. If you like what I do, I have lots of books that I've written. You can buy them online. You can even get autographed copies. You can see the links down below. Yeah, I look forward to your comments. Please share, like, subscribe, and take care of yourself. That's the most thing. That's the thing I want, is take care of yourself and live your life fully. And if there's anything at all you got out of today's talk, it's that I want the best for you, and I'm just trying to give you what I think is the best. So, Jai Shri Krishna, Om Namo Narayanaya.